What is up, party people? Happy Wednesday. Got a few things to get through today, and then get ready to enjoy ourselves as we head towards the week. I'm actually going to be off for the next few days, taking some time to hang out with the family, whatnot. Might do something tomorrow, but then Friday through Monday I'm going to be off, and that includes my radio show. But I want to talk about a couple things of insanity. And, I'm not this wacky, you know how much easier it would be for me to be like super divisive and to come in here and just play the craziest shit. It's just the easiest thing in the world to do. I like to have stuff, I have conversations with people and I take those conversations and I run with them, say, let's have some good times and find out, what people are really talking about. And I will say this, yesterday we played Van Hollen, who is the Maryland senator who says he was going to go to El Salvador. So he went to El Salvador today. And I bring this up because you're going there, and as we've talked about on my radio show, I've talked about on other radio shows, I've talked about on here, the Democrats run at the dumbest shit you can find. They're like, hey, this is a really bad idea. I think we should do it. And then the way they go. So this guy goes down to El Salvador. First of all, the president was here. Bukele, he didn't want to meet with this guy. Flies down there, takes it on his own to fly down because he's going to go save this quote unquote Maryland father, Abrego Garcia. And that's how he's like, he's a Maryland, he's a Marylander. He is born and raised, right? He says no, he's not. He's from El Salvador. He came here illegally. He's got some kids. And they're propping him up to be this amazing, he is their martyr. They've chosen this guy to be, because that's what they do, right? Everybody runs into politics. They've tried to find the person that's hey, we can hang our hat on this as our martyr, as this is the person that'll bear the cross for us, and we'll use their experience. And that wasn't a good move in a lot of ways, going down to El Salvador. We're going to play a little bit about it. Let's find out if you got a chance to meet with him.
I also told his wife and family that I would try to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia while I was here. So I asked the vice president if I could meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. And he said, well, you need to make earlier provisions to go visit CCOT. I said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he was not able to make that happen. He said he needed a little more time. I asked him if I came back next week, whether I'd be able to see Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he couldn't promise that either. So I asked him if I could get on the phone, either video phone or just a phone, and talk to Mr. Abrego Garcia, so I could just ask him how he's doing, so I could report back to his family. He said he could not arrange that. He said maybe if the American embassy were to ask, maybe that could happen. So I will certainly ask the American embassy to ask the government of El Salvador to connect us by phone. I asked him how about his family? How can he talk to his wife so that she can hear his voice? I let him know that the family has requested that. He said he was not sure whether he could make that happen. So we have an unjust situation here. The Trump administration is lying.
No, we don't.
About Abrego Garcia.
You know what? You are an absolute asshat. This white savior complex. You're going to go down and save. You're doing it right because this is the day. Your disdain for Trump has clouded your judgment, which is what's happening to all of the Democrats for the most part. You have these blinders on. Trump is bad. Trump is evil. My identity is now Trump is bad. Trump is evil. And that's what you run on. And the way that you choose things is amazing. By the way, so today, Andy reports, hey, this guy had a order of protection against him from 2021. And that order of protection, I'm reading a little bit of it. Now, it didn't go any further, but it was definitely something that it was a civil protection order against him over with his wife. And she decided not to pursue it any further, but there was some serious issues. They said, they're trying to, they worked through it. Okay. Right. Again, this is who you're hanging your hat on. So if you dig a little deeper, lo and behold, there's a police report. And in the police report, the police identify an MS-13 gang member and somebody who's here illegally. What? Two things. First, well, that's not a great person to hang your hat on as far as your upstanding. This guy's just a hardworking individual. He's never done anything wrong. He's kept his head down. He's not part of any gang lie. That's not really good for the look. Secondly, hey, Trump administration, you've got the entire Justice Department. You got all the FBI. You've got all of these things at your disposal. You've gone into court going, we really can't prove anything. You couldn't get a hold of this to even combat your story? That's also not a good look. But why this situation matters most is Van Hollen is a senator from the state of Maryland. Patty Morin was a woman murdered by somebody that was here illegally. And today she was at the White House. As this, everybody's now pulling their thing. You're bringing somebody? Well, I'm going to bring somebody. Who you bringing? I'm bringing this. So they bring her up, and she gives a very, by the way, I cut it down to the end because she talked about what the monster did to her daughter. But she's also from Maryland. Isn't thrilled by what is going on, considering the, let's say, non-respect that her and her family got after their daughter was murdered by the same senator that's down there fighting for somebody who is here illegally. Obviously, there's a lot more to the story about him than was first known. So this is Rachel Marin's mom, Patty, talking about her frustration.
Not protecting the American citizens? It's just common sense. Why are we not protecting our children? And to have a senator from Maryland who didn't even acknowledge or barely acknowledged my daughter and the brutal death that she endured, leaving her 5 children without a mother and now a grandbaby without a grandmother, so that he can use my taxpayer money to fly to El Salvador to bring back someone that's not even an American citizen. Why does that person have more right than I do, or my daughter, or my grandchildren? I don't understand this. Thank you.
Well, the reason is simple. Politically, you can't help him. Politically, you aren't the person they need politically, and the right will say, "Well, she's what we need politically." But on a human side of it, you're not that, right? Like they're looking for something. He went down there because he wants to be the great white hope. He's going to go save. Look at me fight hard. This is a Maryland man. They kidnapped him. Blah. That's what he said yesterday. That they kidnapped him. No, they didn't kidnap him. You're accusing El Salvador of kidnapping their own citizen. You're insane. What are you even talking about? But it's politics, and this is the world of politics we live in now, and it's ridiculous. And she should be pissed. We should all be pissed. The Biden administration allowed millions of people to walk through our door. And we don't even talk about how many millions that came through our door. Some went back, some disappeared into the, into our country and are, going to keep their heads down and do stuff. Okay, that's fine. And then some of them, we're not quite sure. We were talking the other day about how many adult males that were from China that came through San Diego. Like, well, What about that? Like, where are all these people? Why? You failed, Democrats. You run at bad ideas on a daily basis. You hitch your wagon up to the wrong horse over and over again. And you are in it for what? I mean, honestly, you're going down there. You're flying down to El Salvador. Did you pay for it yourself? I mean, that's what she was kind of asking. You didn't give me a like, hey, let me call you and talk about how I kind of feel bad that, your daughter was murdered in such a way. No, none of that. Why? Because politically, you can't acknowledge that. You can't acknowledge that because we've gotten to the point now where we can't acknowledge, wow, that was not a good thing, right? The minute you say, oh, that's horrible, with that person who's here illegally that you allowed to come into the country because you decided, hey, I'm going to let everybody in, because if you go and say something like that, the Democrats always say, people that come here illegally, they have lower rates of crime. You're like, is that where we're going to go with this? Yes, because that's the politics of it all. That was the humanity of it all. You had one group who, and both sides use people. I always go back to Christy Blasey Ford. You guys remember her, right? The whole thing with Kavanaugh. Man, the Democrats were stoked to roll her out. They're like, we got her. She's going to destroy this, right? They pump her up. And she's like, I think he did something. Where? At a house over here? When back in the 84, between 87 and 1973 somewhere. Yeah, and the minute they were done with her, like, bye. You didn't do us any good. It sucks that politics has become this, like, let's use everybody we possibly can. Both the right and the left do it. They love to trot out people. And it is frustrating that we're in this situation. But Democrats, you guys continue to freaking fail when you hold people up and you look and you say, you know what? No, this guy came here illegally and he should have his due process and we should bring him back and he had an order to be removed and then we will find a country that will accept him and that will be that and we will move on. But you can't because, you'll be going against, the great whatever. Such bullshit. Moving on. Today in England, the UK, their Supreme Court, which I was kind of bummed they came out and made an announcement. They weren't dressed up. I was hoping they were going to have the wigs and the whole 9 yards. Made an announcement about what is a woman. Now, you remember, our Supreme Court on the left, they can't define what a woman is. Well, there's many varies of woman. No, there's not. Now, you can identify as whatever you want. If I want to be a penguin tomorrow, I can identify as a penguin. And if you don't, address me as such, you have hurt my feelings. You've microaggressed me. But they came out today, and this has taken a long time. Since 2010, there's been a case that 3 Scottish ladies have fought about what is a woman in definition. Finally got to their Supreme Court. And guess what? They ruled on it. The UK has spoken. This will have reverberations around the globe.
On this appeal is the meaning of the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010. Do those terms refer to biological women or biological sex? Or is a woman to be interpreted as extending to a trans woman with a gender recognition certificate? By that I mean a person born male who now possesses a gender recognition certificate amending her gender to female, and sex to be interpreted as including what I will refer to as certificated sex. The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex.
Oh, what? Yeah. They later go on and say, look, there are protections in place as for trans individuals, but this is about the definition of a woman, which should be a big deal. And for those of you out there, like the nuance of it is, can you identify with whatever you want? I've got no problem. Identify whatever you want. You can live your life as long as you're not, hurting anybody. I don't think we should. Just go live your life. And most importantly, stay away from the kids. It's pretty much that simple. Stop trying to teach them wacky shit. Stay away from the kids. Let them live their lives. Let them grow up, right? Make their decisions when they make their decisions. No, a 2-year-old doesn't get to make a decision like that. It's like, that's It was watching the people freak out today and the battle over this kind of stuff is, again, the nuance in all of this. But we have lost the plot. We're talking about the biology. We're not talking about what you identify as because, oh my God. No, it's the biology. The biology is this. That's a man. That's a woman. We're moving on with our lives. Men can have babies. No, they can't. No, they can't. A person who has it's like going, right? It's like having a Pinto, but you decided, hey, I'm going to take it off and build a kit car. And you're like, oh, look, this now is a Ferrari. No, it's not. It's still a Pinto. You just put something over it that kind of makes it look like a Ferrari. But underneath the hood, it's still a Pinto. Remember Pintos? Oh, God, what an awful vehicle. I wish I had one. But you do what you want to do. And we shouldn't discriminate. We shouldn't treat people horribly. We shouldn't, that shouldn't have to be said. This is, again, common sense. This was about the biology. And the biology is what the biology is. That's it. And their definition is, this is what a woman is. J.K. Rowling, who's pissed off pretty much everybody on the left, said it took 3 extraordinary, tenacious Scottish women with an army behind them to get this case heard by the Supreme Court. And in winning, they've protected the rights of women and girls across the UK. For women, Scotland, I'm so proud of you. One of the things that has happened with this entire chaos of the battle of the trans issue and the LGBT community is it became about activists trying to push things and at times erasing women. It became this cultural Marxism where the goal was to get you to give in to what you know to be true in the fear of what the repercussions would be and what you'd be called. I get called stuff all the time. You're trans this. I'm like, whatever. You're a racist. Whatever. Again, you're going to think whatever the hell you want to think. People are going to take stuff and run with it because that's the end game is, for especially a lot of people out there on the left, is I'm going to just insult you by calling you one of the 4 or 5 things I can call you that I have in my playbook because you don't want to have a conversation about anything because you're not interested in that. It's just easier to insult. And that's what frustrates the hell out of me in this day and age. You know, I mean, our goal here as we start to grow this, and by the way, we're going to be changing the name soon to the Exhausted Majority. That's what this podcast, what everything's going to be about, because we are the Exhausted Majority. We need to grow this. We need to share this. We need to do this. And the reason is simple. We need to get the voice back of common sense in this country. It shouldn't be that hard. We need to be able to tell the truth about stuff. We need to understand there are certain nuances in life. Not everything is black and white. We need to have conversations about all these things, especially the cultural issues that seem to divide us in ways. And most people don't want to do that. And damn it, we're going to take back the microphone, the bully pulpit, the moral mountain, all of the things. And we're going to bring common sense back in a way that, you know what, has been lacking for quite a while because of algorithms. And algorithms, they give you what people are wanting. And what people are wanting, apparently, is disdain and hate. And I think we can change that. I know we can. And finally, speaking of London, Sadiq Khan is the mayor. And here's another one of these things where they continue to push. It's about diversity. And I'm going to tell you why that, again, is the silliness of so much of what happens on the left. Not caring about outcome. It's about how did everybody look and
humility.
Identify.
I think we've got the greatest city in the world in London. I think our diversity is one of our strengths. It's not a weakness. It makes us stronger, not weaker. It makes us richer, not poorer. I think we've embraced modernity in terms of you can be a proud Londoner and be Christian, a proud Londoner and be proudly Jewish or Muslim like I am, or a Hindu or a Sikh. You can come to London and fulfill your dreams. The joy of this great city is not just our history, which we keep. Our heritage is really important. We're moving forward as well. And I think it's really important, particularly at a time when you've got this sort of protectionism, this sort of nativism, where this sort of fear, people putting up walls, that we carry on putting up bridges. It's so important. It's who we are.
So first of all, it's not diversity. The strength of the nation is the culture in which you built it and the commonality. If you saw my family, you'd say, what the hell is this? Right? So I'll have my uncle on soon. You guys will love him. He's a 300-pound Mexican guy. You're like, he's your uncle? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No way. Yep. His wife is black and she's uber MAGA. You know what? The commonality besides family is we talk about all kinds of things, but it's the common things that make us strong. Imagine taking and I use this thing all the time, a chain. Everybody's like, it's about diversity. Oh, is it? That's what makes it strong. Okay. So if I build the chain out of, let's say, paper, cardboard, few metal things here and there, and maybe some plastic, and I put it together and I pull on it, is it going to be strong or is it going to fall apart? Oh, it's going to fall apart. If I take a chain made of all sorts of metal and steel, the commonality of the strength of the steel and everything, some are big, some are small, some are made of silver, some are black, some are gold, and I pull on it, it's going to be strong. Why? Because the commonality is, this is the strength it is. We have a strength of commonality across the board. Everything else on the outside may be a little bit different, but what binds it together, what makes it what it is in its strength is the core is built through steel and metal. Sweden, Europe, they're losing their culture. They're giving it away. They've allowed millions of people to come into their country and not demanded they become part of the fabric of the country, not demand that they be part of what made their country great, whether it's Sweden or Denmark. Belgium's completely lost. Parts of the UK I couldn't even recognize. I lived there for a decade. And they just let it go, right? Just that's it. You just whatever. And that is not a way to build a nation. It isn't. That's not. And long term, your nation will be unrecognizable in the next decade. And in some parts of Europe, it is already unrecognizable. And you're not getting that back anytime soon. What makes the UK great, it was the fact that it was the UK, the proudness of the UK. Oh, it's nationalism's bad. No, it's great. You should love your country. You should love all the things about it. When I lived over there, I used to tell everybody I was as English as you could get. Yes, I was an American first, but I was English when I was there. And I loved England through and through. We had our differences when we played against each other in sports and in the Olympics. I was still American. But when I was there, I was English. It was my culture. It was my people. I loved it. Now you tell people, come on over. Oh, yeah, by the way, you keep yourself the way you are. You do the things that you want to do, but, just do it here. Doesn't work that way. It's going to fall apart, and it's going to cost your nation, not just the identity of your nation, but it's going to cost your nation in ways you can't believe. And that's why, yesterday I had Jason Whitlock on. We're going to get him on, I think, in the next week or so. We were talking about this. When people come to America, and I say this, a vast majority of the people that have come here, yes, even the ones come here illegally, they look at America and they think, this is the shit. This is what it's all about. This is not just a golden goose. This is a land of opportunity. They see this and they think, wow, I want to be here. My grandfather came from Mexico. He didn't even want my uncle and I learned Spanish. It was like, it was not a jam that he was into. He wanted us to be English. And he used to tell us all the time, if I wanted to be a Mexican, I would have stayed in Mexico. He had a thickest accent till the day he died. Hello, Shad. He's coming, Shad. He loved this country through and through. He was as American as it could be. And yeah, he was different. But I tell you what, that is what makes us strong. Those commonalities. those bonds are incredible. And when you find those things, those strengths, it's awesome. Yeah, you can celebrate. Hey, your food's great. Your culture's awesome. But, but this is America and I'm American. It's the fact that we have people coming here from all over, and they better figure out how to get these people to assimilate and realize that you're America first, period, case closed. Doesn't mean you can't love where you came from, can't love the people and the culture, but your people now are here. And Europe is failing, and they're going to continue to fail, and they're going sideways. Sweden, there was a huge article the other day in, I think it was the Telegraph. I know I read so many articles that said multiculturalism has failed because you put a whole bunch of cultures, which, by the way, in many of these places that these people are fleeing, other culture inside of their culture has caused their country to be essentially uninhabitable for them because it doesn't work. It doesn't. We need to have a love of this country, and we need to bring that back because it's what will sustain us. It's what makes us great. And the reason people want to come here, it's not because we're just fair to middling. It's because of what we are, which is that beacon of light on that hill, the land of opportunity. And when people buy into that, it's amazing. You find that love and that thing that bonds you and binds us all together, gives us strength, that's a win. If we don't, and we decide, well, let anybody come here and be anything they want, we're going to become Europe. And Europe right now, that bus is struggling. Tell you that right now. You guys have a blessed rest of your night. Remember, like and share this. Exhaustive majority, that's who we are. Check me out, ChadBensonShow.com. We're going to be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. nationwide radio. So you can go to ChadBenson.com, find out where I'm playing in your neck of the woods. And S. Jones Jackson, if I've got something back here that looks like it's actually not Max Headroom. It is Frankenstein, but like a 1950s Frankenstein. And that's my capybara. And that's an awesome robot right there that a dude in Texas did. It's actually a Bluetooth robot that plays music and holds stuff. It's totally cool. We'll do